Welcome to Karma Chronicles. Please like the video and subscribe. Let's begin.
I didn't even finish the video before my hand started shaking. My uncle had sent it. No context, just a Dropbox link labeled, "You need to see this." I hit play sitting in my car outside the grocery store, and within 30 seconds, I couldn't breathe. There was my mom, sitting at the kitchen table with a glass of wine, my dad pacing near the fridge, and my brother, of course, leaning back like a smug jackass with his feet up on a chair. "She acts like we owe her something," my mom said, rolling her eyes. My brother laughed. "She thinks she's some kind of savior just because she works in tech now. Like, congrats, you write code. So do high schoolers." Dad chimed in. "She's a burden. Always has been. I don't know why she can't just help without needing a damn medal." I paused the video. I couldn't watch anymore. My ears were ringing. I had been covering most of their damn mortgage for the last 3 years. Quietly. Through a shell LLC my advisor helped me set up. They had no idea the company holding their house title, Divine Investments LLC, was me. Uncle Jason's message popped up right after the video. "I'm sorry, I can't sit on this anymore. They talk like this all the time. You don't deserve it." I sat there for maybe 10 minutes, replaying their voices in my head. I wasn't even crying. That was the scary part. I thought I'd be wrecked, but all I felt was cold, focused. I pulled out my phone and logged into the LLC account. Mortgage statements, payment history, purchase date, everything was right there, staring back at me. Then I remembered the clause my advisor had pushed for when we bought the place. If they defaulted, the LLC had the right to reclaim full ownership and evict any tenants. Any tenants? They weren't homeowners. They were tenants with a fake sense of pride. And me, I was done begging to be seen. I walked into my apartment, dropped my keys, and locked the door behind me. Then I opened my laptop, and I started planning. I opened my laptop and pulled up the original file, the first document I'd ever signed as the owner of Divine Investments LLC. The date hit me, 4 years ago, almost to the day. I remembered the meeting like it just happened. My parents had been freaking out back then. The family business, my dad's custom cabinetry company, had gone under after 2 decades. Poor planning, no savings, and a ton of debt. The house was weeks from foreclosure. They were arguing in the kitchen about selling. Mom cried about having nowhere to go. Dad cursed out loud and blamed the market. My brother, of course, offered nothing but half-assed ideas about starting a YouTube channel for woodworking content. I had money saved. I wasn't rich, but I'd worked hard. I was 2 years into my second job at a mid-sized software company in St. Paul. I'd invested smart, lived below my means, and stayed out of their drama. But watching them unravel like that, it got to me. So I called my financial advisor, Layla, the next morning and told her I wanted to buy the house. Not directly, quietly. I didn't want them knowing it was me. She set up the LLC in a day and had everything rolling within a week. They signed a seller-financed agreement with Divine Investments, grateful some investor had stepped in to help them keep the house. They never asked who or why. They just took the deal. I told myself they were too proud, that if they knew it was me, they'd never accept it. That's the story I ran with for years. The truth was worse. They didn't ask because they didn't care who saved them, only that they were saved. They never respected what I did, never saw software as real work. My brother? He was the golden child. Even when he dropped out of community college, they still backed his every stupid plan. Said he was creative, said he'd figure it out. Me? I was the boring one, the girl who stared at screens all day. Only Uncle Jason knew the truth. He had walked in one night while I was on the phone with Layla, going over the tax structure. He overheard enough to figure it out. I tried to deny it, but he just stared at me, shaking his head. "You're bailing them out, aren't you?" he said. I told him to keep it quiet, that it was better this way, that they were good people, just struggling. He didn't argue, just looked disappointed. Now I knew why. My phone buzzed with a new message from him. I opened it. Screenshots, a whole string of them. "Mom, she'll come through again. She always does." "Dad, she owes us after everything we've done for her." "Brother, LMAO, she acts like she's smarter than us, but she's still dumb enough to pay our bills." "Mom, let's ask for 2 grand more. Just act nice at dinner." "Dad, don't overdo it. She's not that stupid." I stared at the screen. My chest burned. They weren't proud. They were entitled. This wasn't about shame or struggle. This was strategy. A family I'd protected for years was mocking me behind my back while using my money to play house, and now they wanted more. I stood up, walked into the kitchen, and poured a glass of water. My hands weren't shaking this time. Everything was finally clear. I picked up my phone, screen still glowing, and texted Layla. "You up?" Layla answered on the second ring. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah, just did the math," I said, flipping through the payment records. "I've put in over 260 grand since we bought the house. You know how much they've paid in? Less than 12. There was a pause. Then she said, "You ready to stop bleeding for them?" "I'm ready." I clicked through the statements month by month, year after year. It was all there. Property taxes, repairs, emergency plumbing. That time, the roof needed patching after a storm. They never even thanked me, just complained about the delay. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was a text from my mom. "Hey, sweetie, can you come to dinner Thursday? Just us. Would love to catch up." I stared at the screen, then glanced back at the screenshots Uncle Jason had sent. Act nice at dinner. They weren't even trying to hide it. "They want more money," I said into the phone. "Of course they do," Layla said. "Question is, what happens if they don't get it?" I opened the LLC contract, the part she made me add, even though it felt cold back then. "If they default," I said, reading it out loud, "they legally become tenants, subject to state eviction laws, no grace period." "Correct," Layla said. "They've never actually held the mortgage. The LLC does. You're the managing member. You control the terms." I let that sink in. All these years, they walked around like they still owned the place, like they were in charge. It had never been theirs after that day. I clicked back to the payment dashboard. Their last transfer was 2 months ago, and even that bounced once before going through. "I'm not doing this dance again," I said. "If they want help, they can be honest. I'm done with the lies." Layla didn't say anything for a second, then said, "Good. Then let's prep for the worst. I'll draft the paperwork and schedule a call to review the default process." "Do it," I said, "and send me the editable templates for the notice letters. I want them ready." After we hung up, I sat there in silence, staring at the numbers again. I'd spent my 20s cleaning up their mess while they laughed behind my back. No more. I scrolled back to my mom's text and typed out a reply. "Hey, yeah, Thursday works. What time should I come by?" I added a smiley face, kept the tone light, friendly, like nothing had changed, but everything had. I set the phone down, opened a new folder on my desktop, and labeled it Family Legal. Then I started uploading everything. I pulled into their driveway a few minutes early. The siding on the house looked worse than I remembered. Paint peeling, gutter hanging loose on one side. The porch light flickered like it hadn't been changed in years. I forced a smile as I rang the doorbell. My mom opened it like we were best friends. "There she is," she said, throwing her arms around me. "Look at you, all grown up and glowing." I hugged her back and stepped inside. Same house smell. Cheap candles, fried food, and air freshener trying to cover up the damp. Dad waved from the kitchen. "Dinner's almost ready. Steak, just how you like it." I raised an eyebrow. "Since when do I like steak?" He chuckled. "Oh, right. Medium, right?" I meant medium. I sat at the table while my brother strolled in wearing a hoodie and basketball shorts, looking like he just rolled out of bed. "Well, if it isn't Silicon Valley herself," he said, grinning. "Big time now, huh? You still just typing all day, or did they finally make you CEO?" "Something like that," I said, shrugging. He pulled up a chair across from me and cracked open a soda. "Man, must be nice. Working from home, all that freedom. You don't even gotta sweat like the rest of us." I didn't bother correcting him. He wouldn't understand. He never did. Dinner was awkward from the start. Fake compliments, forced laughs. My mom brought up my job 6 different times. How proud she was, how smart I turned out. How she always knew I'd go far. "And with how well you're doing," she said, stabbing at her salad, "we were thinking, well, hoping, maybe you could help a little more." I looked up, fork paused in midair. "We've just been stretched thin," Dad jumped in. "You know, inflation and all that." "2,000 a month would get us caught up," Mom said quickly, "just until things level out." My brother added, "It's not like you'd even notice it missing. Tech money's different." I stared at them, not angry, not surprised, just entertained. They had no idea who they were begging, no clue I owned the floor under their feet. "I'll take a look at my budget," I said, keeping my tone light. See what I can swing? Of course, honey, no pressure, Mom said, all smiles now. We finished dinner, and I made small talk like nothing was wrong. I told them work was good, that things were stable. I let them believe whatever fantasy they wanted. When it was over, I hugged them goodbye, said I'd think about it, and walked out to my car. But I didn't leave right away. I sat in the driver's seat with the window cracked, engine off. 10 minutes later, I heard the back door open. Voices drifted out, my brother first. She bought it. She's too soft. Just smile, cry a little. Boom, free money. Mom muttered something, then laughed. If she hesitates, we push harder. Remind her who raised her. You know how she gets when she thinks she's disappointing us? Then my dad. We could always threaten to tell people she's unstable. You know, the stuff from her teenage years. Make her scared to lose her job. My blood went cold. She works in tech, my brother said. Reputation matters. One HR report and boom, game over. Mom laughed again. Let's see how generous she feels after that. I didn't move, didn't flinch. I just sat there, hands clenched around the steering wheel, breathing slow. Then I reached for my phone, opened my voice recorder, and hit save. I didn't sleep that night. I stared at the ceiling, earbuds in, replaying their voices like background noise. Every laugh, every plan, every threat. By 7 the next morning, I'd had enough. I stepped outside, sat on the stoop, and called Uncle Jason. He answered on the first ring. You okay? I stayed after dinner, heard them talking in the backyard. I laid it out, everything. The blackmail, the manipulation, the smug way they talked about destroying my job like it was some game. Jason went quiet for a second. Then his voice dropped. They're out of their damn minds. Yeah? They really think they can scare you into more money? That's the plan. He let out a hard breath. I knew they were selfish, but this is low. I nodded, even though he couldn't see me. I just needed to hear someone say it out loud. You got me. Whatever you need. I'm here. That was all I needed. By noon, the pressure campaign had started. It kicked off with a sweet text from my mom. Morning, baby. Just checking in. Thinking about you. An hour later. Hey, did we come on too strong? You know we love you. Just trying to get through this together. By dinner, my dad jumped in. You know we're not perfect, but we're family. Don't let money come between us. The next morning, guilt ramped up. We're barely scraping by, my mom wrote. Your father's blood pressure is through the roof. You wouldn't let us end up on the street, right? Every message just made it easier. I forwarded them all to Layla, along with the audio recording from the backyard. She replied 2 hours later. Everything's documented. I'll submit the legal notices for review today. We'll prepare the eviction filing. I sent the same audio and screenshots to HR at my company with a brief note. Family conflict turned toxic. They may try to weaponize mental health history. Here's proof, preemptive disclosure. I got an automatic reply first, then an email from the HR manager 30 minutes later. Thank you for the heads up. We're flagging the file. If they contact us, you're covered. Right after that, my brother texted me like nothing happened. Hey, just checking in. You doing okay? Work still good? You seemed stressed last night. I stared at the screen. Then his follow-up came. Hope your company's still stable. Layoffs are happening all over, huh? Subtle. I didn't reply. Just took a screenshot and dragged it into the folder. That night, Layla called. All documents are finalized. Default notice, tenant terms, eviction process, locked and ready. I'll wait for your green light. Send copies to Jason too, I said. I want him in the loop. You're sure? She asked. Once we hit go, there's no walking it back. I'm sure. Then I texted my uncle. Papers are ready. I'm done playing nice. The next morning, my phone lit up again. Mom calling this time. I let it ring, then picked up on the last buzz. Hey, I said flatly. Oh, good, you're up, she said, too cheerful. We were just thinking. We're trying to pull together the next mortgage payment, but it's tight again. We really don't want to fall behind. I walked to the kitchen, put her on speaker, and set the phone on the counter. I understand, I said, not offering anything else. She hesitated. Honey, if you could help, just this month, we'll get back on track. Promise. I'll look at my expenses, I said. Can't promise anything. Then Dad's voice came through in the background. Ask her when she can send it, not if, when. I heard that, I said. Mom fumbled. Oh, he's He's stressed, but we know you care. I didn't answer. After a few seconds, she gave up and said, Okay, just let us know. I hung up and stared out the window. October sun, clear skies, the kind of quiet day where nothing should feel heavy. But the silence felt fake, like standing in a minefield before the first blast. 10 minutes later, an email came in from the bank. Subject line, mortgage payment alert, failed transaction. I opened it and read the details twice. Their account was overdrawn. Payment bounced. Second strike in 3 months. I didn't act. Not yet. I forwarded the email to Layla with one line. We wait until it's official. She replied instantly. Got it. I'll hold everything in draft. Ready when you are. That afternoon, I cleared my schedule. I wanted no distractions. I opened the document templates and started filling them in. Names, addresses, dates. I customized the tenant notice, adjusted the default clause for clarity, saved copies in a locked folder, and double-checked every attachment. Then I opened a blank Word doc and started writing. Subject, family conflict, threat history, HR file. I kept it factual. Bullet points, timestamps, screenshots of texts, transcription of the audio, contact details for Jason and Layla as third-party confirmations. Halfway through the doc, I stopped typing and sat back in my chair. This wasn't revenge, not really. They taught me how to do this, every move I was making. They'd pulled versions of it on me for years. Guilt, pressure, silence, shame. They taught me the language of manipulation. They just didn't expect me to be fluent now. I went back to typing, faster this time. An hour later, the draft was done. I didn't send it yet. I wanted one more day. One more crack at family to do the right thing. But I knew they wouldn't. My phone buzzed again. Brother. Let me know if you're helping or not. We got bills, not time for guessing games. I didn't respond. I just added it to the HR doc and hit save. The payment deadline passed at noon. I didn't remind them. I didn't send a warning. I just waited. At 12:03, Divine Investments, my company, sent the default notice. Standard language, formal tone. Straight to the point. The mortgage was in breach, and tenancy rules would now apply. I didn't have to wait long. By 12:17, my phone lit up. Mom calling. I answered on the second ring. Her voice was frantic. The bank just emailed us. The mortgage failed. It says the investor's moving forward with default. What the hell is going on? I stayed calm. I know. She froze. You know? I'm the investor. Silence. I own Divine Investments, I said. The house has been mine since the day you signed the sale contract 4 years ago. You've been living there on a grace period that just expired. More silence. Then a week. No, that's not possible. We sold to a company. We didn't. Yeah, a company I set up. You didn't ask questions, remember? Just took the deal. Her voice cracked. Why would you do that? To keep you from losing the house, to protect you, to give you time to get your lives together, which apparently was a waste. She started crying. You can't do this. We're your family. I laughed. Family? You mean the people who called me a burden? Who joked about blackmailing me and ruining my career? I didn't mean any of that, she said fast. We were angry. Your father, he... Save it, I cut in. I have the recording. I heard everything. You planned it like a heist, and you seriously thought I wouldn't find out? My brother's voice jumped in on speaker. You really gonna throw us out? You think that's not gonna come back on you? I think it's already too late for you, Connor, I said. I sent your text messages and the audio clip to HR, just in case you tried anything. You're bluffing, he snapped. Nope. You tried to play games with someone who's smarter and quieter than you. And now the game's over. He went off, swearing, yelling, calling me names I hadn't heard since high school. I didn't flinch. Mom jumped back in, pleading. We didn't know it was you. We were scared. We didn't think you'd really turn on us. You didn't think at all, I said. But now you're officially tenants in default. You'll get the full eviction process just like any stranger would. No shortcuts, no special treatment. Please, she whispered, just give us another chance. I didn't respond. I hung up, blocked both their numbers, and turned off my ringer. 10 minutes later, the guilt campaign started. Texts from cousins, emails from my aunt in Florida, voicemails from people I hadn't heard from in years. How could you do this to your own mother? Your dad's heart can't take this kind of stress. We all mess up. You're punishing them like they're criminals. Delete, block. Done. I opened my laptop, pulled up the eviction timeline Layla had sent, and highlighted the important dates. Move out deadline, legal filing window, process server contact. Then I sat back, hands folded behind my head. Let them come. By the end of the week, they'd tried everything. I got a formal letter from some bargain bin lawyer they hired, claiming wrongful eviction and emotional damages. Layla reviewed it and laughed. "There's nothing here," she said. "They're hoping you'll panic and back down. This is a scare tactic." Didn't work. Then came the social pressure. Extended family blasting me on Facebook, tagging me in long rants about honor and forgiveness like I'd murdered someone. My mom posted a picture of the house with some crap caption about memories and losing it all. I blocked every single one of them. Then Connor took it further. A message came through my work email from HR. Internal, urgent. He'd called my company's ethics hotline, claimed I had mental instability and had threatened my family, said I was abusing my position and might be a liability. Too bad he didn't know I'd already filed a full report weeks ago. HR looped me in on the thread with one sentence. "As previously documented, this matter has been addressed and verified." They followed up with, "We've also flagged the call. Given the malicious intent and false statements, we've escalated it for legal review." Connor never saw it coming. 2 days later, Jason called me with an update. "You won't believe this. Your brother's getting investigated for harassment. Apparently, he used his girlfriend's company phone to make the call. She might get pulled into it." I didn't say anything. Jason added, "You did everything right, clean, covered. They tried to trap you and got caught in their own mess." I thanked him and hung up. The next night, I got one last voicemail from my mother. Her voice was a wreck, sobbing so hard I could barely understand her. "How could you do this to us? After everything we gave up for you? You're tearing this family apart. You've ruined everything." She broke down near the end, gasping, begging. I deleted it without listening twice. This wasn't guilt anymore. This was just noise. They weren't confused. They weren't desperate. They were angry they lost control. That I stopped playing the role they wrote for me. Layla called again the following afternoon. "Everything's locked down," she said. "Court filing was accepted. Deadline served. They have zero legal footing. You're covered on all sides." I asked, "So that's it?" "That's it." I sat back in my chair, phone still at my ear, staring at nothing. No panic, no adrenaline, just done. "Thanks, Layla," I said, "for everything." "You stood your ground," she said. "That's more than most people ever do." I walked through the house with the lights off. No footsteps, no voices. Just the sound of my boots echoing off empty walls. The living room still had that old dent in the corner, where Connor crashed the coffee table during some drunken tantrum. The paint on the baseboards was chipped. There were smudges near every doorframe. They'd lived here like it was theirs, and trashed it like it always would be. But now it was just a shell. Quiet. Mine. They'd moved out 2 days ago. I didn't show up for it. I let the property manager handle the keys. I didn't need some dramatic last stand. They were already gone. Physically, emotionally, whatever. That part was done. I ran my fingers along the banister as I climbed the stairs. The carpet was worn. The bathroom smelled like old bleach. The whole place needed work before I could list it. But I wasn't in a rush. They were crammed into a 2-bedroom apartment across town now. Mom, Dad, and Connor all under one roof again. No yard, no garage. No investor to save them this time. Downstairs, Uncle Jason was waiting by the front door, holding a folder. His wife, Erin, was in the car with coffee. "We're good to go," he said, handing me the paperwork. "IRS nonprofit registration is in. Foundation accounts open." I nodded. Perfect. We were setting up a resource fund for people like me, quiet supporters who got crushed while saving everyone else. Layla even offered to donate her time for the first 6 months. Jason smiled. "They still think you're cold for what you did." "I'm fine with that," I said. He gave my shoulder a quick squeeze, then headed back outside. I stayed a little longer. One last pass through the kitchen, where so many fake smiles had been forced. Where so many lies were told over meatloaf and sweet tea. My phone buzzed. "Layla, all closed, case dismissed. It's officially over." I exhaled slow. They used to say, family comes first. Every damn argument, every guilt trip, every demand, it always came back to that line. But they never said which family. They meant theirs. Now finally, I'd picked mine. I chose me, and it finally felt right.